Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Warren. I am a property investor across the UK and a banker here in London. My goal is to get to £3,000 from property so that I can live independently and free. If that's what you're into too, like and subscribe. That is what my content is all about. So guys, I'm kind of devastated, yeah? I am having to sell one of my properties in Liverpool. Now, Liverpool was my first ever buy-to-let investment property. I love the city. I went to uni in Manchester, but I went to the city of Liverpool quite a bit whilst I was up there. And I visit the city, you know, relatively regularly. I really like the city. Property I have is in a great part of the city, right? It's right by the Liverpool one. If you know Liverpool, the L1 shopping centre, it's in the centre. It's near to bars, it's near to shops, it's on a lovely road. I mean, like, if I was in Liverpool right now, living there, I would definitely live in that property. Great location. But guys, I'm having to sell it. As we speak, I've got an offer in on the property and it's going through the legal process of being sold. Now, you're probably asking, Warren, if you love this property so much, it is actually my favorite one in terms of location and it being my first ever, why are you selling it, right? Now, there are a few reasons behind it, guys. High turnover of tenants. I actually had 3 separate tenants last year. Another one is the voids that come with that. So whenever a tenant leaves, the time between that tenant leaving and you finding another one is a gap, and you're not getting income in that period, but you're still paying mortgage and council tax. And then lastly, guys, and this is a big one, is a rising service charge on the property. You pay the service charge to the block managing company who manage the block, so all the communal areas basically, and the outside of the building as well. You pay them an annual service charge to maintain that. And what that's all led to is a lower overall return per annum for me. And I'll go into the numbers in a bit, but it's gotten to a stage, guys, where the property is just not, it is minimal returns for me, minimal income, and it just doesn't make sense for me to keep it in my portfolio anymore. And then lastly, guys, probably the biggest factor for me in terms of wealth building, and the reason why I'm having to sell this property, is that the property has not gone up in value in the 5 years since I've bought it, okay? The price that I've agreed to sell for is below what I bought it for, and that's because I overpaid for it. 100% transparent with you guys on this channel. When I started investing, my first ever one, and you'll find this as well, usually your first ever investment is going to be your worst one. You're new, you know, you've done your research, you've done all the research that you can at that point in time. Eventually you just got to get stuck in and buy a property. But, you know, like anything in life, the more you do something over the time, the better you get. My returns now are significantly bigger compared to my returns on my first ever property, this one. I'm very much interested in capital appreciation as well as income. And this one has actually been negative, right? So let's go into some numbers, guys. My return on the capital I invested, 0.9%, right? The net profit per annum on this property is £334. Unacceptable, guys. Absolutely unacceptable. I can't run with that anymore. That's not what I went into property for. Last year it was actually negative, and that was driven by a £1,700 service charge. It's actually gone up steadily over time. I am at a loss, guys, to figure out what or where this money is going. I know they break it down year by year, so you see the annual statement. You know, it's not going on cladding or any issues like that because it's relatively recently built. It's just the cost of, you know, utilities, of power and maintenance and staffing costs for, you know, the management's just gone up over time by what I think is an unreasonable amount. It's killed the profitability of this property. It's only going to carry on going up over time, right? So now is the time for me to sell this and replace it with a more profitable property. And just to give you some context, right, I've got 2 other properties in my portfolio that I rent out. I've got one in Sheffield and another one in Manchester. To make this property, the one in Liverpool that I'm selling now, comparable to the others that are performing, I'd need £200 extra in rent per month to make it comparable to what the other ones are producing for me, right? So this one falls well below the mark, and that's why I'm having to sell this property. And, you know, to put it into context, guys, I am a big football fan. I don't know if you are too. I'm a United fan, right? So when I saw Eric Ten Hag, the next Fergie, come into United, I saw the way he was treating Cristiano Ronaldo, right? Cristiano Ronaldo, he was treating him like he was like Phil Neville, benching him, and I was like, rah, and eventually he sold him. And as property investors, we're very much the same. We're like managers, right? Football managers manage teams, we manage our assets, which are properties. And sometimes when your assets are performing, you have to take action. That might be selling them sometimes, right? And that's why I'm selling this property. If it's not performing, right, and you have a specific goal for the overall team, that being your portfolio, if one's not performing and that performance isn't going to get any better, it's only going to dip over time, you got to sell it. And that's the decision and the action that I'm taking right now. It wouldn't make sense for me to hold this property for another 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, because the performance isn't going to get any better. And I can't raise the rent by £200 because that's just not the market rent in the area. But what have I learned from this, guys? I've learned a lot. First of all, guys, is that I've actually changed my strategy off the back of what's happened with this specific property. One, I am not buying new build anymore. The reason behind that is because most new builds, you pay a premium for them, guys, and they are overpriced, as was this one, okay? It was overpriced, but it was my first one, as I said. So I've learned off the back of that now, if I'm gonna buy a new build, I am not paying overpriced for it. And you know, you're gonna have to work pretty hard to find new builds that aren't overpriced. So my strategy now is to buy terraced houses, terraced, semi-detached, detached houses, right? I don't want flats anymore. I want houses, A, because you have the freehold, you can add value to them, force the value of the house up and get money, extract cash back out of the property. And also, you know, you can avoid, generally speaking, when it comes to terraced houses, freehold houses, there's less of a premium. Not saying that there isn't a premium, because, you know, whoever the seller is, they're always trying to get a premium on the house they're selling. But the premiums tend to be, from my experience anyway, less in terms of what they are asking for than on new build flats. And also, guys, with freehold houses, you tend, generally speaking, not to have ground rent and service charge to pay on these. So, you know, those two particular costs will decrease your return, your profit over the course of the year. With freehold houses, the only cost that you tend to pay for those is the insurance of the building and any agent fees that you're paying to the managing agent. So guys, that is why I am selling my property in Liverpool. Do you agree with this decision? What would you do in my position? Like and subscribe for the algorithm, and I'll see you guys on the next one.